This is the Cabal Wannabe Show. Today we're looking at multiplayer, and specifically we're looking at Archenemy and Planechase. First up, we're going to look at Archenemy. It was a really cool format I was really excited for, and it kind of flopped on me. I really didn't care for how it ended up. Before we get into the details, I do want to say that Archenemy and Planechase are both good formats, but I do have a favorite. Archenemy has a ton of cool cards. All in good time next to your next turn. Behold the power of destruction. When you set in motion, you start all 9 permanents target opponent controls, and display of my dark power gets you more mana. Most of the time, a scheme card will either get you something really overpowered like an next turn, affect one opponent tremendously like Behold the power of destruction, destroying all 9 permanents and opponent controls, or display of my dark power, getting you mana for a turn that's in noogles of amounts. So there are cool cards to mention. My Crushing Masterstroke, when you set it in motion, gain control of all 9 permanents your opponents control until end of turn. Untap those permanents, they gain haste until end of turn, and each of them attacks its owners this turn if able. Awesome effect. There's nothing quite like stealing everything your opponents have worked so hard to create and just smash them right back with it. It is the Crushing Masterstroke, aptly named, and a really cool effect. I delight in your convulsions. When you set in motion, each opponent loses 3 life and you gain life equal to the life lost this way. Really powerful effect with more players in the game. You can go from either gaining a puny 6 life to a puny 15 life easy. It's not going to set you up for a couple of turns to take more damage, but even 6 life can swing the game, and knocking your opponents for 3 each helps a little bit. Not the most powerful card, but the artwork is pretty brutal. Not to suggest that the artwork justifies running it in your Archenemy deck, just that it's really cool. Now, the thing I don't like about Archenemy is a lot of the effects, minus some of the more nature-loving effects, are just repeats of cards already printed. Insurrection, untap all creatures and gain control of them until end of turn. They gain haste until end of turn. Slightly better than the Masterstroke itself because they don't have to attack the player that they came from. But this only gains control of creatures, and that's not always as fun. I am aware quite a few cards are just very similar to cards already printed, like Blood Tithe, whatever. Each opponent loses 3 life, you gain life equal to life lost this way. Exact same, except this you have to pay a mana for. 4 mana, actually. It's not to say the card is bad, it's just to say that it's nothing that we haven't seen before. And as a fan of multiplayer in general, I really like the idea that I can play these cards for free, but I prefer more powerful effects. This is kind of like Siphon Soul, but slightly better. So the other one is just slightly better than Blood Tithe. Now I don't want to knock Archenemy for just having reprints of other cards already made, even though they're slightly better or sometimes slightly worse. But when I play it, I feel like sometimes I should just take a stack of cards I already have, like Wrath of God, Haunting Echoes, or even Permanents, and just play them for free every turn. Just like a giant stack of cards, you reveal 1 a turn, and you get the effect that goes to the bottom of the stack afterwards. I think sometimes that would be more fun, and I would be more in control of what I have in my Archenemy deck. This might be just because I like designing different elements for games the way it is, but sometimes I feel like I should even just be changing how the Archenemy decks work and just errata or just throw in my own cards into it and have fun with it that way, because it's a casual game anyways, and you're not in a competitive scene. Why not make your own cards for it and just toss them in there? I mean, if you don't like the way any of the Archenemy cards work, then just change them ever so slightly. As long as it's cool with your play group, why not? On to Planechase. Really cool format. A brief overview is you roll dice to see if you leave the plane or not. You have a 1 in 6 chance of leaving the plane and a 1 in 6 chance of hitting the chaos symbol to gain the chaos effect of it. Whereas in Archenemy, you just reveal a new scheme every turn unless you hit a ongoing scheme in which it stays there until the effect for leaving that scheme happens. So Planechase is actually pretty cool as well, but suffers from the same problems as Archenemy. Llanowar has the effect of all creatures gain tap at double green in your mana pool, and whenever you roll a chaos symbol, untap all creatures you control. So the plane of Dominaria, specifically the zone of Llanowar, just adds you a ton of mana if you land on the plane. Which reminds me a lot of Finehorn Elder. It turns all of your creatures into a Finehorn Elder practically. It's a little better than Finehorn Elder. It's like a Finehorn Elder Plus. That's a lot to say at one time. But that's not to say that it's better than Archenemy. It's just to say that I like it a little better. In case you guys can't tell, it's awkward laughter. Undercity reaches. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, its controller may draw a card, and the chaos symbol reads, whenever you roll a chaos, you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. So effectively gives all of your creatures the Ophidian Eye, or the Ophidian effect, as it's known in certain circles. Really cool effect. The chaos symbol helps add to the flavor of the game, and the chaos effect isn't really in relation to any other card except for effects like Spellbook. And I really like how they kind of combine two cards, so it's not just one card straight up, but you actually get two cards in one. When it comes right down to it, I prefer playing Planechase over Archenemy. Then again, I do like rolling dice for that random aspect. It just seems to be a lot more fun in my eyes. Archenemy I do like, but I don't like it as much. I give it a thumbs down instead of the thumbs up, for those of us that prefer an up or down method. If they took out the ongoing schemes in Archenemy, it would be more fun, I think. But it's got more problems. You can always customize your Archenemy deck to have no ongoing schemes, but the effects are still a little too narrow for my liking. Planechase, although is very similar to the way Archenemy works, it's more of a universal all players type thing, and it allows every player to have fun. But Archenemy is supposed to be, you know, one guy plays the uber bad guy and you guys are the heroes trying to stop him, so it's more flavorful, I guess. Overall, I just love getting a chance to sit down and play some multiplayer Magic, whether it's with Archenemy, Planechase, both of them combined, or Cube, or Type 4, 5-color shenanigans, stars, two-headed giant, whatever it is. I just love playing multiplayer Magic, and anything that makes the game more fun is usually worth playing at least once. See if your play group likes it. So I'm gonna go with the Borat side of things and just thumbs up all multiplayer formats. So until next week, guys, or the bonus episode, I'll see you guys then.